carry it out. But if the leader is not there to make sure that they buy in the support from the people, that task will not be carried out. It will rather be rebellion on, and at the end of the day, things are not going to move. And this is not what we expect in our institution, especially for 2022, when we are coming from a very much disturbing situation which has been caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It is why perhaps for Namibia, the president have decided to declare the year to be a year of reimagination. We need to reimagine our life outside what have happened, outside what have been, so that we know how much we can do and how much we can achieve if we try to apply different approaches to certain situations. So it is very, very important for us to try to look at this. Wisdom and knowledge is very, very important in the arena or in the field of leadership and administration. If you don't have that, I tell you that you will always have a problem to get your subordinates to task. So when the subordinates are unable to buy in the idea that you sell to them, it becomes a challenge, because the school will be stand still. Things are not going to move. And if they do it, they might do it without that love. They might do it out of frustration, and they might not do it with the willingness that is supposed to be deserved. So it is very important that we make sure that we convince, and in leadership we talk about trying to influence. A person needs to be influenced, which is not found in management. You don't need to influence a person, but in management you need to make sure that the task or activities are coordinated. And that part of it makes me believe what people say, that our schools are more having managers than leaders. We have more managers than leaders in our schools or in our institution. It might be true, and if that's true, we don't need to leave it here, but we need to do something. If we have those who are very good in management, and we have those that possess the skills of leadership, that's why you are found in a management team, and each one of the member or the manager, the leader, need to bring their part on the table so that you make sure things are done correctly. If a leader has something, if a manager has something, let everything be put on the table, and together you can maneuver the activities of the school, and we propel forward. Otherwise, if we talk about management in simple terms, we are talking about management is activities. Management is trying to coordinate. Management is trying to make sure that you prioritize which activity comes first and all that. And when we go back to leadership, we are talking about initiations. Leaders initiate. Managers might execute, but there should be somebody that should initiate. This is why you will believe me that we have schools that have been standing for years without anything happening, because there is no leader that's supposed to initiate. But of course we have people that's supposed to do the task, but who is there that's supposed to initiate activities for this school or initiate programs, initiate projects? There is none. So it is important for us to try to make sure that we always look at what it is and what is not, so that we try to make sure we have a meaningful leadership and a meaningful management team at schools, and schools will prosper. And lastly, the request that I would want to make is for our leaders and managers to make sure that you set your goals within the parameters of an acronym called SMART. What does it mean, SMART? I'm saying let the goals be specific for the S in the acronym SMART. Let the goals be measurable in the acronym called SMART. Let the A, or let the goal be attainable or achievable, which is the A in the acronym. And then we move to the realistic part of it. Let the goals be realistic. And then lastly, let the goal be time bound. Let us try to break down this. If we set goals, we need to make sure that these goals are specified so that we know what it is that we are really trying to engage in. You need to know, because we have so many broad activities that happen, but we need to break them down into segments, and such determines the specification of this goal. And then the measurable part of it, a goal needs to be tracked back. one has to see how far one has come and how far one is yet to go. And if you are able to do that, then your goal is within the aspect of being measurable. One needs to be able to find out what is happening, how far am I going, how far have I come from, and what else do I need. Such is very important. And the attainability of it. There are certain goals that are set, but the person doesn't look at how much or what is the probability of it being achieved, or how the probability of it being attained. And if you don't look at this is why projects are usually left incomplete, because a person does not really put it in this scale and see whether it is able to be achieved or so. And then the realistic part, it is reality. The realistic part of it, it's reality. I tell you, it's reality. Look at your environment. What is the reality of your environment? How does it complement with the goal that you have brought in? And then lastly, we are talking about time bound. Of course, every goal needs to be put or to be placed within a time frame, and this time frame should as well be looked at from a different angle. Is the time enough to achieve this task? Is the time too much or exaggerated for this goal that has been set? So such, it is very important. And when this comes into play, it is still something that our leaders, our managers need to consider, that such things can only be achieved if we get full support from our subordinate teachers. And if these teachers are able to own the ideas, to own the projects, to own the goals, I am telling you that everything is going to be run smoothly in our institutions. So let them decide on what has to be done, on what is needed for something to be done, so that tomorrow they are able to account for what they have said. Let it not always be things coming from the leader, from the principal, from the manager, or from the HOD whatsoever. Let things come from the teachers. For you, it is just to make sure that you guide them. If they decide something outside the set goals or outside the set consideration, it's your duty to make sure that you realign their thinking and say, no, I know what you're thinking is this, but given the situation, this will not work, but if we try this, I think it's going to be done. Let us not always bulldoze and ignore the aspect of their importance in the field of play, which is in our institutions. Those people are important, the teachers are important. Without them, we wouldn't occupy the positions that we have. You are there because they are there, and they are there because you are there to guide them. But remember, everyone is a teacher before another has become a manager or a principal or a head of department. You are all teachers, and given the nature of human beings are difficult things to work with. They say leaders usually find problems when they think human beings need to be controlled instead of human beings being led or being guided. We can never control people, but we can control activities, we can control tasks, but people can never be controlled. Once you control people, one day you'll find out that these people have decided to retaliate, and the retaliation from your subordinates are tasks that are not going to be carried out. This is not what we are wishing for, but we are trying to say every being in the institution needs to bring their part on the table so that the institution is run well and as deserved. We all need to have a part to play. Nobody should stand and fold hands, but everyone needs to bring in the things. Sometimes teachers bring a lot of suggestions to the management, to the principals, to the head of department, but usually these suggestions are just trampled over and over. At the end of the day, people remain silent. Hence the say which goes by, if a leader doesn't listen, one day this leader will be found or will be surrounded by people who are very silent. Because when a person has spoken for several times and you have never attended to their request or to their ideas, the remaining option or the remaining resort will be to keep quiet. And when a subordinate teacher or a team is quiet, nobody will ever make anything go out of context. So the context needs to be kept, the people that are there should need to be realized, and you'll see that our year 2022 will be a very good year for our institution. Remember, according to the President, the 2022 is a year of reimagination. Let us reimagine how we do things.